Hello everyone. In today's video, we'll discuss about production function. So we'll start with the definition of production function. A production function is the functional relationship between input and output. So for instance, we want to produce an apple. So what are all the factors of production or inputs we need for producing apple? So we need land, seedlings, fertilizer, water, labor and machinery. So all these are the inputs to produce an output called apple. So basically, in factors of production, we consider land, labor, capital, organization, and machinery as the factors of production. So the factors of production or input may vary according to the product we produce. So here, the inputs and uh, outputs are technically explained in terms of q is equal to f of x1 comma x2 comma x3, that is so on till the nth term. So here q represents quantity and f represents functional relationship between inputs and outputs, and here x1 x2 x3 and so on represents the quantities of various inputs. Now we have two different types of inputs. So that is represented as q is equal to f of l comma k. So here L represents labor and K represents capital. We are restricting our attention only to the product produced either using one inputs or two inputs. So if there are only two inputs, we will take L and K. So we have so many inputs. You can see land, labor, capital, organization, machinery, etc. But for our study, we are taking an instance only for two inputs. So we take only a few inputs. So that is, we will take mainly capital and labor. So here this function defines the maximum rate of output obtainable for a given rate of capital and labor input. So for example, output may be tangible like computers and televisions, etc. So or it may be intangible like educational, medical care, etc. It is not necessary that always the output should be in terms of tangible assets. It can be sometime intangible assets also. So here for short run and long run, all inputs can be divided into two categories. So it can be divided into fixed inputs. Another one is variable inputs. Here in the fixed inputs, in one whose quantity cannot be varied during the time under consideration, and according when we take time period, it will vary and depending upon the circumstances. So in fixed inputs, we can take an example of plant, equipments and machinery. So basically fixed inputs cannot be changed during short period of time. It can be done only during long period of time. So next is variable inputs. In variable inputs, quantities can be changed. So it is easy to change the quantity, but whereas when we take a fixed input, it is not easy to change the number of quantities. Um, Next here we have is production function with one variable inputs. So again here it is split into fixed quantity and variable quantity. So let us take an example of fixed quantity here. It is machine tool, and for variable quantity we take example of labor. So with help of this fixed quantity and this variable quantity, we produce an output called metal. So here we will see the production function, that is q is equal to function of capital and labor. So as I said, we take fixed quantity as machinery tool and variable quantity as labor. So with help of these two inputs, we get an output called metal. So that is maximum quantity of output can be received with the function of capital and labor. Now we will discuss total average and marginal total average and marginal product of the labor. So look at the below table. Here number of workers we have from 0 to 8. Then TP is total production, MP is marginal production, and AP is average production. Here we will include two other concepts. One is average product, another one is marginal product. The AP of an input is TP divided by the amount of input used to produce this amount of output. So don't think it as complicated. It is nothing but the average product of an input. Here input is labor. So the average product of an labor is divided by the amount of labor used to produce the amount of output. So here average product of labor is equal to amount of output divided by amount of input used to produce the amount of output. So here L is nothing but it is considered labor, which is considered as input. In the above table we have workers till 8th unit. So in AP it starts from 0 and it keeps on increasing till the 4th unit of worker. From the 5th unit of worker it has started declining. Similarly, when we take marginal product of labor, it is the additional output attributable to using one additional worker with use of other input fixed. So here it is nothing but marginal product of labor can be done. That is, it is when we talk about marginal product, suddenly we strike as additional only. So we can get additional output when we use additional workers with use of other inputs fixed. So here MPL is equal to WO by WL. That is, we will get additional output when we use change in quantity divided by change in labor. So when we use additional labor with additional quantity, so we will get additional output. For example, we will by using this formula, I have given some examples. So you can see MP4, that is if we see MP4, I have taken example, that is change in quantity. So for change in quantity, we will take 76 minus 54. So if we take 76 minus 54, we will get 22. So which is change in quantity is 22. In the same way, change in labor is 4 minus 3. How do we get 4 minus 3? Because for 76 we have 4 unit of workers, and for 54 we will get 3 units of workers. So when we subtract 4 from 3, we will get 1. So here 22 is change in quantity and change in labor. So when there is change in both quantity and labor, we will get marginal product of labor. So 22 divided by 1 is 22 again. So I have given more examples for the marginal product of labor. And here, if we talk about MP, so first it increases with additional of worker till third unit of labor. It later declines, and at addition of sixth worker it becomes negative, that is -4. So here if you see MP marginal products at starting it is 0, and it keeps on increasing till 26, which is at third unit of worker, and from fourth unit of worker it has started declining, and at the seventh unit of worker it has become 0, and at eighth unit of worker it has become negative. In the same way, TP initially it is 0, and till 6th unit of worker it is 96, and at the 7th unit of worker it is constant, and from 8th unit it has started declining. So the reason for the declining in the TP, MP and AP is because we have few fixed inputs, and when we insert the variable inputs in between, so because of its load, it starts declining at a certain stage. So that's all for today's video. In the next video, we will discuss about production function with two variable inputs. Thank you.